There were some tough words on Capitol Hill today. Listen to this from Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky.
Mark my words, you will raise tax rates and you'll feel good because you went after and you got those rich people because you said you were. You campaigned against rich people and you got enough envy whipped up in the country and you're going to get them. You're going to stick it to those rich people. But guess what? You may not get any more revenue. You may not get any more economic growth. But you can say, I stuck it to the rich people.
And Senator Paul is joining us now from Capitol Hill. Senator, thanks very much. Tough words from you. I want to get you to explain what you meant in a moment, but let's talk about what's going to happen. Are you hearing there will be a vote tonight before midnight on the floor of the Senate?
I think there's a very good chance there will be a vote tonight. I think they have come to an agreement. I think taxes will go up. Also, spending will go up. But I've always thought that really the crisis of the tax rates going up is not the real crisis in our country. The real crisis in our country is a debt crisis, and I think we missed it on that. We're not going to address the debt crisis in any meaningful way.
How will you vote on the legislation, assuming there's a deal and it comes up tonight?
Well, you know, I've always said it's a bad idea to raise taxes on anyone, and it doesn't really matter whether they're rich, poor, or middle class. If you take more money out of the private sector and send it to government, most of what I've seen up here with the money that we receive is wasted, inappropriate, and counterproductive. So I don't think there should be more revenue coming in. I think we should actually have less revenue but a lot less spending because we don't do it very wisely.
So will you hold your nose and vote in favor of it, or will you reject it?
You know, we're going to protect 99% of the people from drowning, which, you know, when you use the analogy of drowning, it makes everybody, they should understand that basically raising taxes is drowning. It's a bad idea. So we're going to save 99% of the people. We're going to make those tax rates permanent is what I'm hearing, which is good. The only thing that kind of confuses me still that is if it's good to protect 99% of people from a policy akin to drowning, that why is it good then to go ahead and throw the 1% overboard and raise the taxes on those? Maybe because they can afford it. Well, the problem is that a lot of us work for rich people. You might sell a fancy car to a rich person, or you might build a yacht that a rich person buys. So we are interconnected with these people. So I don't think you can necessarily punish one segment of the economy and it not have repercussions on the middle class.
So does that mean, Senator, I'm sorry for being obtuse, are you going to vote yes or no in favor or against the legislation, the deal?
I'm a likely no because there's a lot of new spending in it also. There's going to be tax increases, which I think are bad for the economy. There's also going to be increases in spending. We have a spending problem up here, and instead of trying to restrain spending, they took entitlements off the table, and they've actually added in new spending. There'll be new spending in this bill, which I think is the wrong direction to take the country.
But you know, of course, if you were in the majority and you voted no, and there was a majority in the Senate that voted no, millions of people in Kentucky would automatically see their taxes. If you make under $400,000 a year as an individual or $450,000 as a family, your taxes are going to be going up, and that would be very painful to 99% of the people out there.
I agree completely, but you have to realize who's insisting on taxes going up. The president has created this fiscal cliff. He has said that he will not approve keeping the same tax rates for those 99% that people have sympathy for, that I have sympathy for in my state. I'm one of the 99%. I'm not one of the 1%. Most of my friends I know are in the 99%. So I do want to protect their rates, and I would protect everyone's rates. The president is the one who has created this fiscal cliff. He insists on raising taxes. It's really his intransigence that endangers those 99%.
But the president is saying that he is now willing to do what the Republicans asked back in 2001, 2003, make those Bush tax cuts permanent. And he's saying, yes, the Democrats now have agreed. Democrats say they will be permanent. There will be no tax increases for 99% for people making under $450,000 a year. Those will be permanent taxes. You support that, but because 1% are going to have to pay a little bit more, they're going to go from 35% to 39.6% if you're making more than $450,000 a year. You're going to be willing to see all those millions of other middle-class families suffer?
It's actually not that. Actually, if it were only that bill, Wolf, if it were just protecting the 99%, while I want to protect 100%, I would vote for a bill that protected 99%. Heck, I'd probably vote for a bill that protected 80% because I want to protect anybody from big government. But the thing is it's not just that. They're heaping on new spending. So not only are they raising taxes, maybe on a small percentage of people, but a large amount of money, but they're also going to spend more money. So it's a spending bill. It has stimulus spending in there. It's going to give a 5-year stimulus spending to some of the president's plans from 2009. So I object to increasing spending and increasing taxes. And that's really the deal killer for me. If it were just tax rates and you told me I had the choice of protecting 99%, I would vote for, you know, when the House bill came up that would have protected 99%, I would have voted for that because it didn't have new spending. This has new spending, which I think is taking the country in the wrong direction.
But just put on your political punditry hat for a moment. I assume you agree that if Harry Reid and Mitch McConnell put it up on the floor and there's a vote tonight, it will pass the Senate despite your objection.
Yes, I think it will pass with bipartisan support in the Senate. And the House is a little more unpredictable, but I think it'll end up, once Democrats sign on board in the House, it should pass as well. But it's going to require Democrats and Republicans, probably in both bodies, in order to pass. I personally just don't like it because I think we're kicking the can down the road and we aren't really addressing the real crisis in our country, which really, to tell you the truth, was not the fiscal cliff that everybody's been talking about. It's a debt crisis where we're spending over $1 trillion each year we don't have, where we now owe more per person than they do in Greece. By some measurements, we're worse off than Greece now, and this deal will do nothing to help reduce the deficit.
Hey, Senator Paul, Happy New Year to you, to everyone out there. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And please pass along my best regards to your dad as well.